got you. Yeah, I'm waiting for the brother Tehuti to join. He should be joining real soon. He said he was having some technical difficulties, so he should be here soon. Oh man, was just stuck in that Atlanta traffic, man. That Atlanta traffic ain't no joke. It is no joke, family. But shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to all of y'all. Let me pour me some water. It should be a real good show today. I want to see what the brother got lined up. He's talking about being able to visually see in other dimensions. You know, I talked briefly the other show about my my peripheral vision. Here go the brother here. So, you know, I'm real excited to see let me see. Here the brother right here. He's right here. So Hootie, what's good, brother?
Peace, good brother. How are you? Peace.
All right, all right. You got the snake back. I see you, man.
This is a
All right.
different one. I
Oh,
made
that's a different snake. Let me see that one.
this is called this is a meow coup snake. He has a lion print on the top of his face.
Oh, that's crazy. Yo, like that's for real, for real. What the fuck? Oh, look at that, family. Hold up.
Yeah, it's called
Yo.
it's called meow coup. Meow is the ancient word for lion. It's also the ancient word for mind, consciousness, and coup is an ancient word for consciousness. And he's my meow coup snake.
Meow, which we now what cats say
Right.
was the ancient word for lion.
Yeah, it was an old word for cat. That's why people think that cats make a meow sound, but cats actually don't. It's an illusion because cats can't close their lips to make that sound. It's actually the ancient word for cat, which was the ancient word for mind because the cat was known as the
So
great.
what are cats saying, brother? Hold up. What they saying?
They're interesting question. Good way to start this already, right? Interesting question. So cats don't do that naturally. What cats have learned is cats have learned to imitate the attraction that a baby gets because we've domesticated them, and the cats actually learned a sound that it saw the baby continuously making, and people would run to go to the baby. So when you go into the wild, you don't see lions and cheetahs going meow. You don't see that. It's domestic cats that do that because they're highly intelligent. They've learned that they're making a sound from here. It's going meow. It's not meow. It's like a baby sound,
Mm.
and it attracts our attention when they say we look and they're
Brother,
doing
I
something.
have never heard that before. You are quite an interesting dude, Tahuti. That's why I got you on the show. You are quite an interesting dude, man. Oh
Yes.
man. So the topic tonight, you got a presentation, right?
Yeah. Always. Yes.
I can't wait to see this, Tahuti. I was telling the family the other day that I feel as though I have more activity in my peripheral vision, and that by the time I look, I don't see nothing there, but I feel like I'm seeing more activity, like whether it's light or shadow, like, and I'm like, you know, so I want to hear what you got to say today about being able to see and access these other dimensions, my brother.
That's actually what we're going to talk about today. So first, before I start, peace and love.
Yes.
Peace and love to you, Rich. It's been a little while, and I loved my first visit here. The energy was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm proud to be, the one that is representing Ma'at here.
Mhm.
I saw someone else come on that's supposed to represent Ma'at, but I don't know what that was. But I'm proud to represent the truth. I greet everyone. If you're a Moor, salam. If you're a Hebrew, shalom. A Christian, peace.
Mhm.
A lot of people here into Native American,
Mhm.
Abo. If you're Abo,
Mhm.
let's shoot the bow and arrows at the enemy. I'm greeting everybody. I teach everybody on all different levels, and after class, I saw a question already come in. I haven't started yet. The question already come in. I'm going to take after class, which was, can we bring something from one dimension into the other? I'm going to actually show that. I'm going to show that from a student that I had named Krishna, because I teach Hindus, I teach everybody. I have a student named Krishna, and he brought he brought the interdimensional beings to be seen, and there's pictures of it, and we're going to show that at the end of the class too.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, without further ado, brother, let's get this thing going, man. Let's see what this is about, Tootie.
Okay, let me move this over here.
Shout out to the family. Welcome to everybody that's on live. We about to get this thing started. Let's get ready, family. Let's go.
Peace to Sekhmet, Ice Storm, Joel, L, Prince of the Moors, Zeptepi, Deb, Balance, everybody here. So, how many people are watching so far, Rich? I can't see. How many people are viewing?
380, about 400. About 400.
Ready? Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Good evening, Michelle. Good evening, everybody. We'll get right into it, and then at the end, get some questions in. And there is a question here that I saw that I would like to get to at the end. So let's get right into it.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay. Let me
You want to pull it up?
Yeah, because when I came through StreamYard, it pulled up a different Chrome tab, so I gotta pull it up on this Chrome tab. Let me go ahead and go. I sound rich, is it okay?
What'd you say? Tehuti, you frozen. Can you hear me? Oh, the brother froze up. You know, he was having technical.
Yes, because I'm on your Chrome tab. So let me do this. Let me put it here. Okay. Okay, good. I got it on this one. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the other Chrome tab. I'm gonna expand it. What? Am I still here?
Yeah, you there? Hey,
Rich?
I'm waiting to see if. Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna cut all these YouTube. These YouTube tabs are interfering. I'm gonna cut all these YouTubes out of here and get ready to get started. Right. Okay, good. All right. Go right to the top. Do you have any pets, Rich? Are you into animals at all?
I had a cat at one time actually, and I'm allergic to cats. I can't have a cat. So well, I didn't. You know, when I was living in New York, me and my girl had
Me too.
got a cat, and but I can't. Oh, you allergic to cats too?
Yeah, I used to. Let me cut this out. Let me see where you are, because. Oh, I see what's going on. I can't see you because it's on another tab. So now I can see you. Yeah, I used to be allergic to cats, but I had to remove that because I'm very much into animals and I have cats. So I used to be allergic to cats, and I removed the allergy.
Oh well, you took a shot or something, right? They had to give you a shot, right?
No, they gave me these shots when I was a child to let me see. It was little bumps to let me see what I was allergic to, and it was cats, dust, and I think dog hair, something else. But I love animals too much. I didn't have time to be allergic, so I just did something else to my body and took the allergy. So now I can be around cats now because I kind of removed it. It's a long story, but I removed the allergy.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, man, shit. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yes, sir. Peace to everyone in the chat. I'm ready to get started whenever you are, Rich. I got everything up on the screen.
Yeah, put it up. Yeah, I don't see it on mine. So yeah.
Oh, you know, Rich. Let me put it on this tab. Sorry, let me do this because I see a problem gonna happen. Okay, let me.
Well, somebody said how? Oh, I don't. Well,
Okay.
Are you talking about?
Give it a moment. It's What's that, Rich?
No. You can hear me, right? Do I sound clear?
You sound crystal clear. I heard you say something about how, and then that
Yeah,
faded.
I
But
think is there a delay when I'm talking? Is there a delay? Yeah, I think there's a
no, it's
delay.
perfect now. I think when I go to the screen,
Yeah,
let me.
yeah.
Okay, Rich, can you see me moving in real time and talking in real time right now?
Yeah, I see you moving. Yeah, I see you moving in. Yeah.
Okay, so as you're talking, I can see in real time. I don't think there's a delay. I think it's every. So when I toggle over to the other screen, if I try to move it to this screen, it delays it. So I'm gonna just go to the other screen and teach. And when I
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
back here, I'll just
Yeah.
manually
Yeah.
come to this
Yeah. Yeah.
screen. It's
Yeah.
there's
Hmm.
two different Chrome tabs going on, so I can
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Let's do
can.
that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me go to the other screen. Get this link out of here. Get this out of here.
Damn, I got a
This out of
mosquito.
here. This out of
Shit.
here. This out of here. And um,
Yeah, but what's going on with y'all in the chat while this brother gets this together? What y'all talking about? Yeah, we'll talk about the allergies toward the end. I want to get this brother I want him to concentrate on on this thing he's doing
okay.
right now.
Let me.
Appreciate the support though. What you say?
I'm gonna try to click on to come on again. Let me see if I can come on the same tab that we're on because it's. Okay, I'm gonna click on the Chrome. Okay.
You used StreamYard plenty of times before, right? Oh man.
I clicked on your link. It opened up a new Google tab that's not a part of my regular tab. So can you hear me, Rich? I'm gonna come on. I have it now on my regular tab. So what I'm gonna do, let me come back to you, Rich. Let me come back. I can fix it right now. I figured it out. Okay. Um, I figured it out. So what I'm gonna do, Rich? I'm gonna I'm gonna click out of here right now, and I'm gonna come back on the proper tab, and then there'll be no more interest. Right. I'm gonna click off and come right back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm here. Yeah, brother. Yeah.
Oh, I'll be right.
Yeah. I hope the brother's able to get it together. 'Cause it should be an interesting presentation. Thank you for your patience, family. We're gonna put some good energy on it. Brother got it together.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you great. We're on the same tab. Everything is perfect now to go.
Excellent, excellent. All
So
right, all right.
I'm gonna go ahead and screen share, and here we go. Share entire screen. Okay.
Tahuti, man, you on the big stage, man. Come on, brother. Don't let us
Okay. So I
down,
should be.
brother. You're on the big stage, Tahuti. Here we go. See, there we
I'm
go.
not
All
doing
right.
anything. Is the is
Yeah.
is it good now? Is everything showing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see it. Yeah, yeah. Could you make it larger? Is there a way to make it larger? Well, I
Okay.
don't want
Perfect.
you to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That that is the largest. It's covering almost my entire screen.
Okay. Let's just get
That's the
going, brother.
largest on that.
Come on, let's just get this thing
Okay.
going,
Let's
brother.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, peace and love, everybody. So many have experienced this. As a matter of fact, when we first started, Rich started off talking about seeing things out of the peripheral of his eye, but then when he tries to make direct sight contact with it, it's gone. Many people have experiences where they see They see certain things when they're in a meditative state. When they're out of the state, they don't see it. Some people try to do meditation or go into a different dimension and see worlds that are there parallel to this. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. So why is that? We're going to get into that. So many have had this experience, and sometimes we get glimpses of what appears to be entities. Sometimes you're in a meditative state and you appear to see spirits, and sometimes you cannot. Does this have anything to do with the visual light spectrum? Is that the reason why this is happening? And that is our limitation range of sight. Well, first, what is the visual light spectrum? The visual light spectrum, and how does it work? It works with the absorption of the reflective light, and the holographic brain. So a simultaneous working of absorption of reflective light combined with the fact that you have a holographic brain is what gives you your sight through the visual light spectrum. So the visual light spectrum and ranges of light based on what's called nanometer frequencies, which are limited portions of light available to the human eye, that the sun has what's called high Kelvin. High Kelvin white light appears to separate into. So when the high Kelvin white light separates, it creates what we see in our eyes as the visual light spectrum. Red, yellow, blue, green, orange, purple, and violet is what we see with our eyes as humans. And the way humans receive this, here's a full light spectrum. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Okay, so the full light spectrum of light falls on the banana, but only the light within the wavelengths of 570 to 580 nanometers. In other words, yellow light is bounced off. A nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. So when you see this, the yellow light bounces off of this, and thus you believe that you're seeing a yellow banana. Yellow light is reflected from the bananas, stimulates the eye's cone cells to varying degrees. Nerve signals from the cones travel to the optic cortex of the brain for decoding. Once that decodes it, then it actually sends it to the back of the head. And when it sends it to the back of the head, then you see actually from the other side of your head, which we'll go to in a moment. And let me ask the class, how much reality do you actually see? You can type it in the chat. I will take a look later. But how much reality, class, when you look out into the world, how much of that world is the actual reality compared to what you can see? In actuality, 60% of the entire universe is composed of dark energy, and 27% is dark matter, which are both invisible to the physical eye. That equals 95%. So 95% of the entire universe is invisible to us. So there's 95% of reality taking place that the human cannot experience through vision. So we have 5% visible matter, then we have 27% dark matter, 68% dark energy. And even of the 5% visible matter, there's luminous and non-luminous. And the difference between luminous and non-luminous is that non-luminous is that which can be seen through technology. It can't be seen through the physical eye. It can only be seen through technology. So you don't even see that 5%. So imagine only 5% of the entire universe is visible, but it gets worse because of the 5%, 4.5 is considered non-luminous, which means 4.5% of that can only be seen through technology. When you remove the other elements that exist in what's called the baryonic matter percentage that is within the visible light spectrum, but unseen to the human eye, this leaves us with actually not even 1%. You don't even have 1% of 1%. It's actually 0.05% of all reality around us is what's seen with the visual light spectrum. We see less than 1/3 of 1% of all reality, including conscious life forms and spirits. So within the 0.05% of reality, we see hundreds of thousands of species in the water, mammals, reptiles, insects, amphibians, arthropods, by the millions, and we're only seeing 0.05% of reality. Okay, let me continue here. All right, boom, there we go. So plus on top of that, as I've taught many times before, even what you do see is a hologram that's created of 0.005%. Reality is created from this not actually, even with your eyes, but you actually don't see with the front of your eyes. You see through a holographic projection created in the back of your head, because your brain is like a holographic computer in actuality. So the eyes serve as laser beams, electromagnetic energy serves as holographic laser lights, UV rays serve as sensory beams, and optic nerves serve as sensory receptors. The visual light spectrum serves as available colors to create a holographic canvas, and then boom, there it is, number 6 in the back of your head, the visual cortex. So here's where you actually start to see, and then a part of what you're seeing back here is influenced by your amygdala and your hippocampus, which is creating emotional and sequential memory projected back out, and then boom, you finally see that filtered version of the 0.005%. So you don't even actually see the whole 0.05%. You're actually seeing a filtered version through your amygdala hippocampus, altering the vision based on your emotion. Why two people can look at the same thing and see two different things taking place based on their diet, emotional state, conscious state, and several other things. And they actually see two different things. And then they argue about what they see, but in actuality, both of them are right. But so with all this in mind and our eyes limitation, the beautiful question that's asked is how is it that only sometimes we see spirit entities, sometimes out of the peripheral of our eye, that of course we cannot normally see because we see less than 0.05% of reality. How is it that they pop in and out? How can we see spirit entities in the first place? Why do they pop in and out if they exist outside of the visible light spectrum? When do your eyes stop integrating with them? And what if you were blind? If you were blind, could you still see spirit entities? Was it normal in ancient pre-matrix times with our cultures, with our ancient cultures, to see spirit entities? And have I ever taught one of my students how to bring forth unseen conscious entities? Then he brought them into physical visual world for witnesses to see. And has any of my students even been able to bring back forth their deceased mother back into contact? What if I told you that just as you all and us all are attempting to observe these unseen entities, scientists have actually discovered through technology that they, the unseen entities, are now on the other side attempting to observe you. And of course, for all of this, what time is it to get into, everybody? We're going to get into the next stage, and that's going to be, of course, the Tehuti overdrive. So let's step right into the scientist discoveries. Here we go. So what is happening here? How are you seeing these spirits outside of the visible light spectrum? Are you seeing them outside of the visible light spectrum? You are not. What's actually taking place? So let us begin. We have scientists discover that there were conscious minute light entities that they logged were actually observing us. And they were considering them a military threat because they were observing military areas as well and people. These light entities can be picked up. This is going to be a new terminology, maybe for some people. We've heard of extraterrestrial biological entities. We've heard of ultra-terrestrial, all different things. But there's also one called interterrestrial. So there's interterrestrial entities. These are ITEs, interterrestrial entities that were captured. And one of the last ones, one of the recent ones, September 5th, 2015, by a nuclear physicist, Ruggero Maria, Santilli, PhD, using a form of technology. He was able to record these, and these were not seen. These were not seen by the visual eye. They were seen by technology. ITE. This is ITE-2 and ITE-2. They were monitoring this, and they were realizing that it was monitoring them, but it couldn't be seen by the physical eye unless the technology was used. And this was the images they got. And these are ITEs. These are interterrestrials. They live inside of this Earth dimension. They can't be seen. They move about, and they have consciousness, and they observe things. And we can't see these with the physical eye. So when you bring this information to some people may say, oh, Tehuti, 363 Empire people, you all are spooked out. You all are pseudo. You believe in the unseen. And the people talking to you don't know that they only see 0.05%. And these are one of the entities, moving, observing objects, entities that's seen from what's called the non-luminous technology. That was September 5th, 2015, observing people. So others that can be seen without the technology by the naked eye in broad daylight. So others can be seen without the technology, like what was seen in photograph by Daniel Chota Tamini and Luis Miguel Chombe Gomez. And this is San Juan Bautista in Iquitos, Loreto region, Maya's province, northeast, move that from there, northeast county of the Peruvian Amazon. What do they see? This. So this here doesn't fall under the category of any type of biological entity that's logged by scientists, and that's fine because not every single biological entity that exists on this planet and off this planet has to be logged by us. We are not the supreme beings. We are not the superior beings of this universe, and they are consistently finding even new creatures in the sea and new creatures that are not a part of this reality that we share. Some plasmoid beings that are interdimensional beings that they are wanting to release, and the government is stopping that for being released on the on the UAP, because the UAP agreement was only to release vehicles but not to release the actual entities. We've seen enough vehicles flying around. We've seen enough of the UAPs, UFOs. We've been seeing that for years. Who's flying them? What's in that? And that's the part that's not under the disclosure. So these type of creatures here we're seeing in the Peruvian. And this is Daniel Chota Tamini, pictured above, said these signs always appear at the neighbors and is the second time he has knowledge of a luminous apparition nearby. It was not a UFO or something, it was a strange body in weird form, something out of the ordinary. Okay. But others are not a part of any spectrum. They're not a part of any spectrum that pertains to what we've been taught as sight. As you know, excuse me, as you know, you can see them even if your eyes were damaged. Is that true, Tuti? Is it true that can you see these entities, the ones that are not even within any light spectrum, if your eyes were damaged? When is a time where most people actually have experiences with light beings or interdimensional entities or spirit beings or Natiru or Kus or Kas or, well, whatever means or names are called? Usually they're in a meditative state. And when you ask them, what did you do first when you got into that meditative state? They said, or you have said, if you've done it, you said, I started to breathe calmly in through the nostrils, out through the mouth. I calmed myself. And what did you do next, sister, brother? I closed my eyes. Okay. And then we'll talk about this maybe at the end of class. Then DMT was triggered. And then when DMT is triggered, you can go into parallel universes and see entities, and this is logged by universities, which I'm going to show at the end of this class as well. But it's happening while your eyes are closed. So if it's happening while your eyes are closed, and that means that these beings or entities that you're seeing have nothing to do with any of the spectrums. So what is it called when you cannot see? Of course, you're blind, like these two, this beautiful brothers here. We all have ability, differences, how we use it. I never wanted to be famous, only wanted to be great. These are great brothers that can't see like us, and some of the people can't see at all. So yes, they're blind. But has anybody in the class heard of clinically blind? So now there's something that's, when people think of blind, they think of somebody who can't see, but then there's something called clinically blind. What is clinically blind? Clinically blind is a little bit different than the regular definition of what people would say are blind. So why clinically blind and not just blind? If blind means that you cannot see, because scientists have discovered that even with the functioning of the holographic brain system, that even when the visual cortex is damaged or destroyed, there is what is called residual visual sensitivity and discrimination. So right here, here's the workings of the thalamus, the amygdala, and the primary visual cortex, where there's residual visual sensitivity and discrimination that's taking place even when the visual cortex is damaged. So the visual cortex is damaged, which is that area in the back of the brain that I showed you that you actually used to see. That's damaged, but yet there's still residual visual sensitivity discrimination taking place, even with that being damaged. That even though the visual cortex is the major cortical destination of input that contains the image received through the retina, that there was a pathway that bypassed the holographic process. So even though that primary area, which is what you use to see the visual cortex, is the cortical destination, scientists have found now, and that leads to the destination, which is to the retina. scientists have found now that there was a pathway that actually bypassed that process. It bypassed the holographic brain process of the visual cortex that can come into play even if the eyes are completely damaged. So even if the eyes are completely damaged, there is a pathway that bypasses the function, the regular function of the primary visual cortex and the holographic brain, and then you can still see. So British neurologist George Ruddock found that patients were perceiving motion with their blind field, as seen here in Science Alert, July 5th, 2020. So now they were able to visualize or feel or see motion, and they weren't using their eyes. They were using what's called a blind field. They were using a field in order to see. They weren't clicking. They didn't have to use a stick. They were using what's called a blind field and still able to see what was happening, even though their eyes, even though their eye, and some falls in my eye, even though their eyes were completely damaged, and the visual cortex in the back of the head was completely damaged. So now we're going to go to Science Alert, July 5th, 2020. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad everybody's here, and you'll see the way that I teach and bring information. I'm bringing information to show you that what the ancient ancestors always knew, scientists are catching up with it. Some people need this information and verification because you may be talking to somebody who is a complete atheist or somebody who doesn't believe in any of the things that we speak about. And you can say, well, here's what the scientists say. Some blind people can still see. Their brains could help explain consciousness. So now they're seeing, not through their eyes, they're seeing through consciousness. This is Henry Taylor. Conversation, visual cortex, front, and it shows the areas in green. Geologists placed Barry in a corridor full of obstacles like boxes and chairs. Like boxes and chairs. They took away his walking stick and told him to walk down the corridor. The results of this simple experiment would prove dramatic for our understanding of consciousness. Barry was able to navigate around the obstacles without tripping over a single one. Barry has what's called blind sight. So they have eyesight, then they have blind sight, where you're not seeing with your eyes or the visual cortex, you're seeing with some type of field that's surrounding you. Barry has blind sight, extremely rare condition that is as paradoxical as it sounds. People with blind sight consistently deny awareness of items in front of them, but they are capable of amazing feats which demonstrate that in some sense they must be able to see them. Blind sight. So boom, yes, seeing through a form of consciousness and a conscious field that is bypassing the physical world's anatomical limitations, and as they're using this ability to help them explain consciousness, which means that these people that are seeing these things are not using any of the visual light spectrum. They're not using any of the spectrums that are documented tying in with the eye's anatomy. They're seeing with something else, just as you are seeing with something else when you're in a meditative state and your eyes are closed, but yet you're having out-of-body experiences. And when you look down on the bed, your eyes are closed, but you're walking around your house. But your physical eyes that you need are closed. The room is dark, but you're walking around the house. And if you've ever seen somebody sleepwalking, or I've ever had anybody that sleepwalks, record them and watch them move around the house and not bump into anything. And they're not looking at anything. They're sleeping, but they're not bumping into things. They're going down the stairs, up the stairs, around to the bedroom, and back into the bed. Yes, what we've been taught, quote unquote, what seeing is by the mundane physical mortals is an actual ability that you see now through heightened sensitivity can be done without eyes. Thus, there are aspects of real sight or sight aspects that you have that are not limited and actually have nothing to do with the visual light spectrum. Welcome everybody to this podcast. Let me ask everybody in the chat, can you actually see frequencies? What are frequencies, and can you actually see them? When you think of a frequency, you think of a sound, you think of most people think of a sound. Can you see sound? Can you see a frequency? What does the word frequency even mean, and can they be seen? Most people, maybe not most people in this chat, because most people in this chat are highly advanced, but most people, if you walk up to the average person and say, hey, can you see sound? They'll be like, what are you talking about? I hear sound. I see with sight. Can you see frequency? And so good input, everybody that typed into the chat. And the answer is yes, because as I elucidated in the beginning of the class, you see what light is, but what's actually happening? But you may be asking, what does light have to do with frequency? Light actually travels in a wave. This is a wavelength, which is physically between the same part of the wave, the space between the part of a wave. The frequency of light wave is how many wavelengths past a fixed point in 1 second. So a frequency is just how often something happens that is equal to the last time it happened. Like when you say, I frequently shop at this mall, I frequently go to the beach. Frequently is the same as frequency. It's how many times something happens that is parallel or echoed to the first thing that happened. So the way that this is actually happening through light is it's happening like this. The visible light spectrum, nanometers. So these are wavelength frequencies. And the wavelength frequency, that they're within a particular frequencies, then they generate these light colors. But these are frequencies that exist that you can't see this that's happening. You can't see the frequencies. You see the reflection of what the thing is giving off that you see, but you don't see the frequencies taking place. There are sound frequencies, light frequencies, several things that are happening in vibrations that are happening through frequency or frequency, which is frequently the same thing. So yes, you're actually seeing in frequencies. The visible light spectrum are waves that alter, control, and influence your sight on the physical realm. What if I were to tell you that there was another set of wavelengths that give you the ability to see the mental neuronic realm? So if you look at these here now, what happens here is each time you have thoughts, you have different, what's called in the ancient language, utut. Ututs is the emanation of light, which is what brain neurons do. And then as you have a multiplicity of ututs or a multiplicity of neuron lights, the more frequent the lights are similar, they start to create what's similar to a hum. But it's not a hum that you can hear with your ears. It's a hum of what's called a wavelength, because several lights are similar. So instead of multiple lights, when you're having multiple different thoughts in a sense of chaos, when your mind is focused on something or resonating on similar thoughts, your brain starts to resonate on what's called a wavelength. And if you look at the wavelength, you'll notice that the more relaxed the wavelength, the flatter the line is getting. The frequency is becoming less. If you look at the top, beta, engaged in work, busy thinking, something we do every day. Look at the amount of frequencies that are taking place. When you look at the alpha, you see it's a little bigger frequencies or frequentlies that are taking place when you're in a relaxed visual introspection, daydreaming. I always teach this to break people out of the matrix. They say, man, in order to get in a positive or a spiritual state, you have to raise your vibrations, raise your frequency. And I say, no, you've been taught wrong. You have to lower your vibrations and lower your frequency. As you can see, as the brainwave frequency, the ones that's getting you to the meditative state, we're starting at alpha, then onto theta, 4 to 8, then onto delta, which is unconscious, very deep sleep, but theta, deep meditation between awake, sleep, flow of ideas, creativity, shamanic states, bridge to subconscious. So as the frequency is spreading and the numbers are getting lower, that is the more spiritual one is becoming. You don't want to raise your frequency. You want to lower your frequency. You don't want to be at 14 to 30. You want to be going to 9, then to 4, 8, 4, 3. You want to lower them. Then as you lower them, now you get into a transcendental state. There's a lowering of the frequency that's taking place in the brain affects your sight. Neuronic light brain waves giving you sight, Tehuti. How is that possible? And now that I've taught you, we're going to find out how that's possible. And now that I've taught you that your quote unquote sight is holographic, which takes place in the back of your head, not your eyes, that during what's called V1 damage or removal, That's V1 damage, is complete removal of the ability to see. You have now blind sight can take over, where you can still see without your eyes. Now it will tell you that these conscious entities exist right here. You don't have to, excuse me, you don't have to go anywhere. Okay. You don't have to go anywhere to see them. They are right here, because some of them are interterrestrials. They're right here. That is in a dimension that you can't see, so you feel that you have to go somewhere in order to see your ancestors, or go somewhere in order to see spirits. But I teach people in my private classes and meta classes how to not go anywhere and just have your energetic body cause what's called satut, which are copies of itself, to go into more refined states. Now, the entities exist right here, but in what's called the double realm, of which, in order to quote unquote see them, you must shift your frequency site. Here are the brain waves. What if I were to tell you that by vibrating on the waves after beta to alpha, the first frequency lowering that enables astral cause sight, out of body, lowering your frequency, not raising them, lowering your frequency to match the echoed dimension of the ancestors, enables a different type of sight. Tehuti and the ancestors are pseudo, which everybody keeps yelling at me for some strange reason. But, well, guess what alters what you can and cannot see, according to the University of Illinois and Beckman's Institute? So what alters what you can and cannot see? Is it your 20/20 vision? That's a part of it. Is it the damage that's done to your eyes? That could be a part of it. But what is it that alters, according to the University of Illinois, Beckman's Institute? What alters what you can and cannot see? Well, let's go to Beckman's Institute. Beckman's Institute. Now we're on the video controlling brain waves to improve vision. Controlling brain waves to improve vision. Researchers at Beckman Institute are using a novel technique to test brain waves to see how the brain processes external stimuli that do and do not reach our awareness. So what are they studying? They're studying this over here, these frequencies that are taking place in the brain. They're not studying the eyes. They're not studying the visual light spectrum, the visual cortex. They're studying the brain waves. And as you can see, beta, alert, engaged in work, busy thinking. That's a brain wave that everybody's in when they live in the day-to-day life in a constant defensive state. Relaxed is the next alpha, 3 to 13. This is the brain wave that's usually mentioned when people want to get into a meditative state. Visual self-introspection. Self-introspection is the key to this. Finding fault in self. The laws of Ma'at say, find your fault within yourself first. That's the first step. Before you critique anyone, before you become a guide to anyone, before you become a spiritual leader, spiritual guide, let me tell you what this person's doing. I don't like what that person's doing. You sit down in a room, calm and dark, and you write down a book about yourself and start dissecting yourself. That's self-introspection, deep meditation between awake and sleep, flow, ideas, creativity, shamanic states. You'll notice that none of this has to do with what people are considering physical sight with your eyes. That has to do with a conscious state that you're in. Flow of ideas, shamanic states, bridge to the subconscious. These are mental states, but yet Beckman says they're studying the brain waves to improve your physical vision. Boom. Brain waves to do what? Improve your physical vision. Shifting your neural light wavelength to a more meditative spiritual state enhances what you can see. This class and these lessons and things that I'm teaching on today is to get the mind, is first off to get your mind to accept that these things are true, because there's so much skepticism, doubts, people, atheists and people out there attacking spirituality. A lot of people don't have the backing that it's actually the scientists that are studying more spirituality than the actual spiritualists. And they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on the study of these things that people actually that are doing meditation wish they knew and wish they had, and wish they had this information to teach other people that are atheists and non-believers that, hey, yes, your brain consciousness has much to do with what your physical eyes are seeing. So thus, the clearer that your brain consciousness is, the more that you can see around you physically. And they don't teach that in school. So let's break the matrix of the mundane mortality and understand true sight. Let's break this matrix. Let's continue. There we go. Has your brain waves constantly fluctuating with distractions. It is very difficult to stay on an alpha wavelength and thus see properly, because the beta wavelength, where your eye cannot see, the spirit consciousness, is the default wavelength that the brain always wants to go to, because the beta wavelength is the defensive, protective wavelength that keeps you alert in the physical world, because wavelengths are, they're unrelaxed. They have to constantly shift back and forth. That which you see in the alpha wave state may suddenly disappear once your mind goes back to the job, bills, social media, arguments, hanging out. All the things the Matrix says is real life. Let's get back to real life. I'm keeping it real. Every time somebody says keeping it real, they never describe anything spiritual. I'm keeping it real. Real now has been taught to us is only the physical realm. That's real. Even though it's 0.05% of actuality, that's the real world. That's the real world. So when you're keeping it real, let's get back to reality. Let's get back to the real life. You mean 0.05% of reality? That's what's real? Okay. So because of that, your mind can go in a relaxed state unconsciously, means you're not even trying to do it. And then you get a glimpse of something. What happens is, as soon as your physical head wants to move, there's something triggering that to take place. What's triggering that is critical thinking. Critical thinking is much in tune with the beta wavelength, because you're saying, what is that? This is also a way that you can wake yourself up in a dream that I teach in the Mednetter class, asking a question. And what is that? What is that? Once you say, what is that? You start thinking that the answer must be something that is within your hippocampus. So we say, what is that? It has to match something that you've seen before. Your mind starts to go to all the things you've seen before. What is that? Is that a cat? Is that a tree? Is that a fly? Is that a roach? Is that my girl? Is that my man? Is that my baby? Is that a chair? Is that a bee? You start, what is that? That quick few milliseconds of the what is that snaps you into the beta wavelength, which reminds you of all the things happening in the physical world. And then you go to look at it, because you're programmed to look at it with your physical eye, when most of those things in the first place are not even seen by the physical eye. So once your physical eye starts to look at in that direction, now it disappears, because it never was in any direction that your eye could look at. Here we go. Let's go. So guess how many scientists at the University of Illinois Beckman Institute plan on heightening and enhancing vision? Guess how they're doing it? Here we are. Let's go back to Beckman's Institute for my good atheist brothers out there. Beckman's Institute, Dynamics of Alpha Control, preparing suppression of posterior alpha oscillations by frontal modulators revealed with combined EEG and event-related optical signal. Published in this month's Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience, reveals how alpha waves, typically thought of as your brain's electrical activity while it's at rest, can actually influence what you see and what you don't see. Alpha waves. It's called dynamic alpha control. That's the one they're going to. They don't want you in the beta wave. They're going to the alpha wave. So boom, alpha wave, alpha control, alpha brainwave oscillations. Alpha waves influence what you see or what you don't see. So you notice the scientists are not going to the beta wavelength, because the beta wavelength is completely in tune with your visual light spectrum, visual light, fighting, flee, fight, the 3 Fs, fight, flee, freeze, looking around. Who's that talking about me? What bill do I have? Am I about to be evicted? Is my daughter out too late? All that is beta wavelengths, defense wavelength. They're not going there for the enhancement of sight. What are they doing? They're going to the same wavelength that all of us are going to first when we start our meditation. That's where they're going. They're going to the alpha wave. So they're saying when you're on the alpha wavelength in your consciousness, you can see better with your physical eye. And guess how scientists now reactivate sight in glaucoma blindness? How are they going to reactivate sight in glaucoma blindness? Because we have a good brother, Dr. LaRoche, who's a great student of the pod class and a great supporter of the House of Attend. He's a glaucoma specialist. He's a professional. And I think he saw this class once and commented because he knows about these things, glaucoma blindness. How do they do it? How are they going to reactivate sight? Are they going to do operation? Are they going to operate? Let's see what they're going to. Here we go. What's this? There we go. So this is the figure 1A, B, effects of ACS treatment as shown by brainwave activity, upper panel, and normalized functional networks in the alpha band. There's the hertz, 8 through 12. This is how they're enhancing boom by the functioning networks in alpha wave frequency 8 through 12 hertz. Bring sight back. This is how they're helping bring your sight back. Not an operation. They're enhancing the alpha wavelength, turning somebody from blind, glaucoma blind, to unblind. So boom. Now pre-matrix, pre-distraction, pre-confusion, pre-stress, pre-chaos. Did we only get glimpses? Because today, most people get glimpses of these spirits. I saw it, then I don't see it. Sometimes I meditate. Sometimes I can have it out of body. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes it feels like I'm contacting the ancestors. Sometimes there's nothing. It seems like little glimpses I'm getting. I can't fully control it. I can't say right now, let's go to the park. Tell me your mother. Tell me your mother's name who passed away. Good. I'm going to contact her right now. How many people do you know that can take you out to the park and say, what's your grandmother's name? Oh, that's her name. I'm going to contact her right now upon will, upon full control. And I'm going to channel her information that she's going to tell me about some, not baby, I love you. Your grandmother says, stay safe out there in the world. The grass is greener on the other side. Not that. I want you to tell me what my great grandmother gave me when I was 6. There we go. There we go. Because only me and my grandmother know that. So if you're channeling the spirits of the ancestors and the spirits of my great grandmother, okay, tell me what my grandmother gave me. What did she put on my bike? She gave me a bike when I was 10 years old. She put some on it. Can you get that from her? Did she forget that? I don't want to hear your grandmother said, watch out for these men out there. Watch out. You got to be smart in the world. Not that. Not that anybody can do. Talk about give me some real information. So most people only get glimpses of things. They can't fully just say, I'm going to contact your great ancestor right now, and I'm going to first prove it by giving you information of a conversation he had with your brother in Jamaica, and call your brother right now and ask him and see if he can verify that. That's the first step. But people can't do that on a regular basis. They get glimpses. But let me take you back in the pre-matrix, and let's see how the communication was done then. Let me take you right back to the indigenous people themselves, because peace and love to everybody. I'm all about what the indigenous people say. The first people of whatever culture you study. If you're Abo, if you're studying Native American, that could be anything from the Inuits. That could be anything from the Eskimo to the Brazilian, if to the Amazonian, whichever one you could be, Nehi, whatever it is that you claim to be. If you're studying Buddhism, China, go to the records of what the ancestors said before they came in contact with the colonizer, and let's see what they said, because all those ancient people, ancient Native Americans, ancient people in Kemet, ancient people in Sumer, ancient people in China, ancient people in India, they had a literate voice. They were highly intelligent, more spiritual than most of us. They wrote, they could speak, they could talk, and they can speak for themselves. So how was it in that time? I'm all about representing the ancestors, indigenous of whatever land that you are most attracted to, which to me is irrelevant. The land is irrelevant. The consciousness of the people is what's relevant, because without the consciousness of the people, all land looks like grass and mountains. The consciousness of the people is what builds the civilization and the spirituality on multitudes of land. So let's go with the consciousness of the people said themselves, that our ancestors in Ma'at come across spirits, and did they only glimpse them for a few moments? like the people of today do. Let me take you. We're going to go to 2040 BC. Let me take you right to the writings of the ancestors, Kunzu Emhab. And here is what they call the Ostrakhan. These are the writings of Kantu Emhab. This is 2040 BC. As them. So now, what was the advice which had given to him? He ferried across, reached his home. He caused there to be made all sorts of good things. Now, while he was looking towards the west, he went to the top of the roof, or to the top, invoked the Nitiru of the sky and the Nitiru of the earth, southern, northern, western, and eastern, and the Nitiru of the underworld, and saying to them, send me an August, just a word for great, send me a great coup, send me a great spirit, not of the physical realm, send me a great spirit. So he came and said to them, I am your, then there's some damage there, who has come in your sleep during the night, next to his tomb. Then the high priest of Amun, Kanzu Emheb, said to him, please tell me your name. Now he's talking to an interdimensional being that is not of this physical realm, who's passed. Tell me your father's name, your mother's name. See, here's the questions that the ancestors have. So somebody comes to you, says they're a spirit, or somebody comes to you and says they're in contact with the spirits, or someone comes in the outer body, you start questioning them for information. What is your father? What's the father's name? What's the mother's name? Right? May offer to them and do for them all that has been done in their position. Said the august spirit to him, Nebu Semek is my name, Ankh Min is my father's name, and Tam Shas is my mother's name. Then the high priest of Amun-Re, the king of the Nitiru, Kanzu Emheb, said to him, tell me, what do you want that I may have it done for you? And I shall have a sepulchre prepared anew for you, and have a coffin of gold and ziziphus wood made for you, and you shall, then there's some damage there, and I shall have done for you all that is done for you that is done for one who is in your position. The Aku spirit said to him, there is none overheated or passionate who is exposed to winds in winter, hungry without food. It is not my desire to flow on like the inundation, nor would I occupy myself with that, simply to say, and then there's damage there. Now, after he had finished speaking, the high priest of Amun-Re, the king of the Nitiru, Kanzu Emheb, sat down and wept beside him. Beside who? Beside this interdimensional being, with a face full of tears, the spirit. And he, Kanzu Emheb, said to him, I will remain here without eating, without drinking, without growing old and become young. I will not see sunlight, nor will I inhale northerly breezes, but darkness shall be in my sight every day. I will not get up early to depart. And here's how it finishes off. Then the spiritation between a person in the physical realm and a deceased. They're having full conversations, not glimpses, full interactions. And every ancient culture has this recorded. Whether you go from the Americas to Africa to India, this is a part of ancient culture. When I was alive upon the earth, I was the overseer, treasurer of King Rahotep. I was a lieutenant in my army, for I used to be at the head of the men, just as the rear of the Nitiru went to rest in the 14th year during the summer months. The king of Upper and Lower Kemet, or we'll just say Upper and Lower Kemet for now, because if I say Samawi Tawi. All right, so Mentu Hotep, he gave for me 4 canoptic jars of my sarcophagus and alabaster, and he had done for me all that is done in my position. He laid me to rest in my tomb, its shaft of 10 cubits. So here, this is similar to people that have what's called NDEs, or near-death experience. He's describing something that happened to him after he died, in the size of the tomb and who laid him down to the tomb, just like somebody in a near-death experience in the hospital describes what the doctor looked like, the type of tools he used, the time that was on the clock. And when the person comes back to life, they say, how did you see all these things? They said, I feel like I was one with everything, and sight consciousness was everywhere. So see, the ground beneath has collapsed and dropped away, so that the wind blows, there seizes the tongue. Now for you, having said to me, I shall have a sepulchre prepared anew, have it 4 times ready, that one will act in accordance with them. But what am I to make of such things as you have said to me? Once again, in order that all these promises may finally come to pass. Then the high priest of Amun-Re, the king of the Nitiru, Kanzu Emheb, said to him, Please express to me a nice commission, such as to fit to be done for you, in order that I may have it done for you. Otherwise, I shall simply have 5 men servants and 5 maid servants, totaling 10, devoted to you in order to pour libation. Here's one of the origins of libation. Libation water for you, and have a sack of emmer delivered daily to be offered to you. Here is one of you. This is 2040 BC. One of your first, this is your first recorded record. We have an old recorded record of origins of libation and bringing something to an altar for offering for a deceased. That's physical food, though. So there has to be some type of interdimensional connection between one world and the next. If what's being offered is emmer wheat, which is physical food, to be delivered as an offering on an altar for a deceased spirit that's being spoken to, and you're pouring libation, this is your origin of libation story. The true origin of why to do libation is in the Sapti Mer, which is the pyramid text. But at any rate, then the spirit Nebu Semek said to him, "Of what are these things you do? Doesn't a tree grow through sunlight? Doesn't a sprout foliage? But stone will never proceed to age and perish, only though the king Neb Hetep Re, son of Re, Mentuhotep, they entered in it, and they explored 25 cubits along the King Causeway at Deir el Bahri, and then they went back down and drove back down to the riverbank, and they returned to the high priest of Amun-Re, king of the Natiru, Kamzu Enheb, and found him offering in the temple of Amun-Re, king of the Natiru, and he said to them, hopefully you have returned, having discovered the excellent place for making of the name of that spirit called Nebu Samek, enduring to eternity. Then the 3 men said to him altogether, we have discovered an excellent place to make a name for the spirit. So they sat down before him and made a holiday. His heart began to rejoice when they said, the sun will come up in the horizon. He called the deputy of the estate, Amun Menkau, and informed him about his project. He returned that evening and spent the night, and then is damaged after that. The corner of my eye, and then it disappeared. Here we see before the matrix full-fledged interaction between physical living and a spirit consciousness, full conversation back and forth, plans, promises, requests for long undisturbed periods of time. Do you see the difference? When one is living within the frequency or is naturally able to shift to the alpha and below, there will be no barrier, and these spirits are easily seen and communicated with. Time surrounded by the matrix, chaos, social media, fighting, reels, shorts, all type of bad food, non-disciplined culture. People just get a glimpse or a short period of time with a shift to the alpha wave frequency. Usually it's accidental, where you can see these spirits without even moving away from the visual light spectrum, because you are using what's called the ku eye. Ku is the ancient word for the spirit, it's consciousness. You are seeing the intelligent frequency of a being that is residing in the mental thought dimension. Let me ask the class, what is the word for light in language that originated spirituality over 4,000 years before the matrix? What was the original word for light? I will show you. The original word for light prior to the matrix was, this is where the Bible gets its concept of not dying a second time. Chapter of not dying a second time. And I want you to understand that the word for dying in ancient culture was not dying, it was mit. Mit is the word mut. Mut is the word for mother. Where you get the word mother from is from this word mit, which means dying, because we didn't acknowledge that we ever died. What happens is that this life comes to an end, and then you're reborn again. You're reborn again in a different dimension. So our word for death in ancient times was the same word for mother. That was our word for death. Second time. This is where you get the second death in the book of Revelations. A second time in the netherworld, saith Osar, is opened. My hiding place twice has fallen. There's the word light. So the ancient word for light is ku. We will get back to this word for light shortly. So just remember that, everybody. The ancient word for light, pre-matrix, the first word, one of the oldest words for light, is ku. Most of my students here remember the experiment done with Michael Persinger from Laurentian University and Ingo Swann what happened when they created what's called artificial electromagnetic field that matched what's called the Schumann resonance. So what happened at the Laurentian University with Michael Persinger, who was studying with Ingo Swann, who was one of your original remote viewers, who was able to do what's called one-pointed consciousness, not out of body, but able to share the consciousness without having an out of body and going anywhere, but sharing the consciousness without having the barrier of distance. And this is what the CIA was using in that article that I think I showed last time I was here. Yeah, the last time I was here, I showed the 1984 article where they were remote viewing to Mars to see if they could find information, and they found ancient Aku's pyramids and things that look like obelisks from Kemet up there on Mars by doing remote viewing. Well, this goes back to Ingo Swann and the study of Michael Persinger when they created what's called artificial electromagnetic field. Here's the word field again. So they created a field, and the field match what's around us right now called the Schumann's resonance. So when they created a field that matched the Schumann's resonance, which is around 7.9 electromagnetic waves between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere, which is a frequency of 7.8 hertz, the same as Beck's 7.8 alpha wave. This was the Schumann's resonance, and here's Michael Persinger right here. And since 1971, he researched the electromagnetic field's effect on biological organisms and found that the electromagnetic field can create mental states of conducive to telepathy. So here we go. Now creating an artificial electromagnetic field that matches the Schumann's resonance, which is what surrounds the Earth naturally in the first place. He was able to create a form of telepathy. That's mind conscious sharing. And what was he doing? He was maneuvering through the different wavelengths of the brain. So here we are at Beckman's, where they're maneuvering through the wavelengths, and that's enhancing physical sight. And here is Michael Persinger at Laurentian University maneuvering through the brain wavelength. And what is he doing? He's creating now a mind-to-mind connection, putting something else in someone's mind or flowing on what's called the mind, because nobody has an individual mind. You're sharing thought conscious brain field, a mind field that doesn't come from the brain, electromagnetic field effects. So here we are, they experimented with two people. They were put in separate rooms. Each was surrounded by a computer that generated the electromagnetic field. And guess what happened? They were able to transfer from one person's consciousness to the other, but only if they shared the same frequency, which means there was a door in between them, and they could be at the other side of the room. They could be at the other side of a city. And they're sharing transference of consciousness, but only if the two people were vibrating at 7.8, 7.9 hertz. Then they shared it. The other people in the room weren't privy to that experience. So that there was two experiences taking place, with the mundane that teach you that none of this is possible, with others that are sharing the resonance of 7.8, 7.9 hertz, and they're having communications experiences, and remote viewing, one-pointed consciousness, seeing what's taking place in other countries, while the regular mundane just talking about, I got to get to work, man. Me and my girl were fighting last night. What are we going to do? We're going to eat. We got some Hennessy. We got some Hennessy. What are we going to do tonight, man? Let's roll some dice, smoking the weed. While everybody's doing that, they're vibrating on 7.9 Schumann resonance hertz, and they're able to see what's taking place in other countries and share that information without moving their mouth. Limited speech. Only we need advanced conversation speech to communicate. Other animals don't. Other animals don't. When you hear a dog barking, doesn't it sound like one bark? It sounds like about three noises, but they're communicating with just these similar noises. The same with bees. Bees communicate maps and pathways by doing a dance and buzzing and creation of a vibration with their wings, and doing a dance that transmits a message of where the other bees should go to from miles away. They don't need multitudes of paragraphs and pronouns, adverbs, and let me talk to you about this. These birds are chirping, chirp, 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 and with that chirp, 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 they're able to, sparrows are able to fly by the hundreds of thousands without hitting each other. And when one moves to the left, the 50,000 moves to the left at the exact same second. Who communicated the first move to the left? When you see those sparrows out there, and there's about 50,000, it looks like a big, massive whale in the sky, and then they all go whoop, whoop, whoop. Who's the one that said, let's move left now, guys? Try to do that with people. Go in to get 50 people in a room and say, move to the left. First of all, half of them won't even listen to you. Half of them won't even listen to you because we're not structured. We don't respect each other. But those birds are going whoop, 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 whoop. Who was the first bird that said move to the left? They communicated in a way that you couldn't even hear, no matter what microphone you put up to them. A couple of chirps, whoop, 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 and they're all moving to the left, right, left, up, down, and none of them are hitting each other. But we can't even walk a day. We can't even walk 2 days without bumping our toe on something. And it's only us. Here we go. So guess what was able to transfer from one person's consciousness to the other, but only shared within the same frequency? A light flash in one subject's eye. The person in the other room showed brain responses as if they saw the light. So imagine a light shining in someone's eye, and you having a response like as if it's too bright, and you're not even in the same room. They're sharing light. Boom, there's the light. That word light was ku. So ku, light, can transfer through a Schumann's resonance with the blocking of a room door. I'm trying to get you to understand that the room door and wall blocks the sunlight that gives you the visual light spectrum. That's why you can't see through a wall. Well, most of us can. You can't see through a wall. You can't see what's happening underground because physical things are blocking that. But yet they were able to see the same light that the person saw with the visual light spectrum. The other one saw that light without the visual light spectrum because they were in the room where the physical light didn't shine. So that shows that light and sight can exist without the visual light spectrum, even if you're seeing something on the visual light spectrum. Thus, you can see things that take place within a visual light spectrum that's taking place miles away from you without the limitation of the range of sight in the holographic visual cortex. You don't need that because the other person was in a room dimly lit and the other person was getting the flashlight. So light transfers without the limitations and the so-called laws of physics of the visual light spectrum. It was able to be seen and transferred from one person's consciousness to another. They shared the same frequency. They could share the same frequency consciousness. Are you starting to understand? This is sight. This is the real sight. And let's end it off like this. This is the real actual sight, which doesn't have to be limited by the physical light conscious, visual light conscious. Guess what Hertz-Persinger found Ingo Swann waves would spike to in the geomagnetic field of the Earth grid Schumann's resonance. So this remote viewing telepathic communication with nature, prayer, is possible through Earth's natural magnetic field. What is it? We think, this is personal, we think that's tremendous because it may be the first macro demonstration of quantum connection or so-called quantum entanglement. I think last time I came here, I'm not sure, but most people have already seen this, the double slit experiment. The double slit experiment is only supposed to take place within minute particles and waves. But this double slit experiment is taking place with human consciousness and physical 6 foot, 5 foot tall people. If true, then there's another way of potential communication that may have physical applications, for example, in space travel. Thus, the proper frequency, one can see light. Michael Persinger called it telepathy, which is communication. Thus, light can be seen on an alpha wave frequency, attempting to communicate with you. Now, remember, I just taught you in the ancient word for light was ku. There's an ancient word for light. This is going back to the Purim Haru of 1250 BC. There is ku right there. And this actually goes back to 3400 BC with the scorpion that they got the movie called The Scorpion King. Scorpion King came from Scorpion 1 and 2. That's 3400 BC. And 3400 BC, when they went into the scorpion tomb, is where they found the very first word for light in his tomb on an elephant bone. It was this word right here, which is the Tehuti bird, beaked bird that digs into the ground, because the word for digging and looking for the truth or looking for something in Medu is Kam. That's a Tehuti bird, digging for the truth. And that's why we always say we have to want to get to the root of the matter. Let's dig for the truth. That came from the Tehuti bird. So that was the word for light going back 3400 BC. But what else does ku mean in the oldest spiritual language before the Matrix? Here, ku is good spirits, your intelligence. So in ancient times, we saw the word ku, that was the word for light, that we just observed can be transferred from person to person as a form of communication, telepathy, whether you're in the same room or not, whether there's physical light with you or not. Light communication can transfer thought from one person to the next, vibrating on the 7.8, 7.9 Schumann resonance. And the ancient word for light was the conscious spirits, were spirits that people say, I only get a glimpse of. Of course, you just get a glimpse of it, because most of our day that we're spending is not in practicing how to do this. If you practice how to do this, and it takes a lot of removal of things that you think that you like. It takes going back to a baby state again. When the baby, last week I taught in class, before the baby had a hippocampus, before the baby has the hippocampus area, it has to keep producing neurons. It has to learn at a rapid rate. It has nowhere to store them before 3 years old. That's why youths can learn languages so fast. You have to go back to a baby again when you remove yourself from all the distractions of the matrix, and you start learning again really fast, because you don't have blocks and doubts stopping you. And then you can get this light transference, because the light transference is the communication of the ancestors, because the same word for spirits is the same word for light, which we just proven can be transferred by person to person without there being any physical light going through the wall. It was the word for your intelligence, boom, spirits, light consciousness, the spirits, and you purposely or accidentally shifting into alpha wave frequency and glimpsing them. And also the light spirits, which is the ku, attempting to make communication with you, seen through telepathy. Go watch the movie called Others. The people thought the house was haunted, and the spirits on the other side thought their house was haunted because they were seeing people. They couldn't break the barriers and fully communicate with each other to communicate, no, we both live here simultaneously. Let's work together. You're just in this vibration frequency right here with me, and I'm in this vibration frequency. So the light spirit ku is attempting to make communication with you, seen through telepathy, as long as you are on the right frequency telepathy, which I've just established to you, that telepathy is also visually seen. I want you to get that in your mind as well. We think of telepathy as I can hear somebody talking to me. No, no, no. I just showed you Michael Persinger and Ingo Swann. What he was calling telepathy was the person in the other room could see. The brain was reacting as if it was seeing the light. So telepathy deals with sight as well, not just with hearing a voice. That's what Michael Persinger proved with Ingo Swann. You interpret it as you just saw a glimpse of something. When you went to look, it disappeared. Or I only seem to see spirits when I'm in a relaxed state, but once I snap out of it, I enter back into the better wavelength. Or you may say, you know what, I got to stay up at night to get creative. How come it's supposed to be when I'm sleeping, but I got to stay up at night. When I'm up at night, then all of a sudden I'm in this super, I'm getting all, they call them downloads. I'm getting all these downloads and all this creativity. I'll answer that more when I come off of here. I think I answered that last week, but I'll answer that more when I come off of here. But here we go. So the beta wavelength, here's back to the beta, alpha, theta. You enter, and then those visualizations are gone. Once you're vibrating on that frequency, then the vortex, which is called the Saba doorway, the word Saba means doorway. The vortex, Saba doorway, the word for Saba was a door and a star. It was a gate and a star. That was the original Stargate. That Stargate, 3500 BC. The ancestors were speaking about the Stargate called the Saba Stargate light, gate to another light dimension in 3400 BC. But it's hidden, invisible to the eye. Those doorways and energy vortexes and passageways are hidden to the visible eye, vibrating because you're vibrating on a beta wavelength, making them invisible. Now it's visible in the alpha wavelength and in the theta wavelength, right? The teachings from our indigenous ancestors before the matrix, was it visible in the alpha wavelength? Was it visible according to the teachings of the ancestors? Let me take you back to the Perm Haru plate 30, and guess what our ancestors said? Now you can see. So here we are in the Perm Haru plate 30, and here's how we'll close. Words of the ancestors. What does it say here? Like I taught everybody, like I brought and was teaching for about 32 years, the word ma'at is people say ma'at. Ma'at is justice, equality. No, the original word ma'at is the observer. Go watch the double slit experiment again, and go watch the importance of the observer and how subatomic matter particles change based on the observer, based on your discernment of life. Things change with you because you're able to examine. The word ma'a means to see, ma'a and ma'at is to see. He has hidden. So here it is. He has hidden, which are in it, are the divine shape, and those are hidden. The word there is sata. The word sata is an ancient word for a tortoise, because the ancient people would see a tortoise hide in shell. Sata. This was the hidden realm, and who are there? The divine chiefs. At what? The sebka, the pylon, sebket. There's the word seb for Saba, it's a door, and ket is a word for body. It's a word for body. The sebket, this was the ancient word for what's called a ka door, or the door for the spirit, also called the pylons, that only the spirit can enter because it's hidden in the physical. And how do you speak? Has spoken Anubis, and the word for speak is the serpent. See the serpent right there? The word serpent is tachet, tet, or tichet, which is where you get the word King Tut from. It means to echo, because your thoughts were supposed to be an echo of your consciousness. So the serpent was a symbol of echoing thought consciousness for eternity, which originally, when the Greeks got it, turned into Horus Boreas, that came from the Mahan symbol of Tutankhamun. And that's when we look at Tutankhamun's symbol on the golden door. He has a serpent biting his own tail, constantly going in Keparah, immortality, consistency. That was the serpent, which is why they introduced you in the Bible that the serpent was the first one that taught the people, you shall not surely die. Because the ancient word for serpent was the word tachet for immortality, which means you shall not surely die. And it was the word for uttering out the consciousness of the Ku energy as a beautified spirit, because you, each and every one of you, has a beautified spirit, consciousness, intelligent, that exists within you, that doesn't have to die with your body. It doesn't have to have the second death. So boom, you can now see the Ku, the light consciousness spirits that were hidden, invisible to the better wave site, but now only when you are of that frequency, which can last through the entire interaction. A few seconds, if you shift out of alpha wavelength, our ancestors taught us this, that it was an invisible sight to those who are in the mundane state. And how does the matrix enforce to cut us off from the Ku energy communication with you since you were a child? Let me ask the class and audience, when you were taught to communicate with God, how did the prayer usually go, everybody? How did it go? Usually pray. And how did the prayer end? When there was a word you used at the end of the prayer, everybody? So when you all prayed, everybody type in the room, what was the word you used to end the prayer? How were you taught in Christianity and Islam? The Lord's Prayer. And how did you end the Lord's Prayer? What was that word you used? Okay, people typing in the room. Great. I'm going to come back and look at it in a moment. What was the word you used? This word right here. Amen. You ended the prayer, not God. You ended the prayer, not God, not the spirit light. You were taught only to have an egotistical, one-way conversation that is not a conversation. That is the prayer that you were taught, where the light could never speak back. Thus, you have been programmed since you were a child not to receive the light communication consciousness that's coming back to you, or see, because they compounded it. And they say, no man has ever seen God. A one-way program psyops, where you block off, you were taught as a child to block off the spiritual light from communication or being seen, and keep you talking to the hidden. They keep you talking hidden, and you never will see it. That which is talking to you hidden, and you never will see it, because what the word is, they programmed you not to receive the other side and see it, because they told you to egotistically cut off the conversation. Blah, 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 God, blah, 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 blah. And before God gets a chance to talk back, boop, amen, which means the hidden, and you're cut off from that consciousness. So by the time you're 27, 32, you just see everything in glimpses. Hotep, I am done. Boom. Matrix broken. That's the end of the lesson for today. Peace and love, everybody. And I'm going to come back to the screen with good brother Rich. Hotep, everybody. I'm glad you all appreciate it. Woo. All right. Let me come back. There it is. Okay. Boom. Peace and love, everybody. We'll wait for brother Rich to come back. Hope you all see FRB. I see someone's name is Resonance. Shout out to Resonance in the chat. Miss Cherokee, like, whoa. Shout out to Sandolphin. Am I saying that right? I want to say it right. Sandolphin. Yep. Amen means the hidden. That's right, Linda. Yep. Seeds of David put these electric. Shout out to Renwood. Excellent presentation, young man. Awaken live. Repeat. Put fire up. Linda put, what did she put? Light and one of these. Strong arm. Love it, Darkwoods. Whew. What should we replace? Amen. I see the questions already coming in. Journey says, thank you. More wisdom. Who wants more wisdom? More wisdom wants more wisdom. A little bit of his, and your wisdom. It gives them more ways to speak in chorism. All right. We got Diane Wardonlot. I'm going to say these right. Diana Ward Online. Warsaret. It's moving so fast. It's gone now. Warsaret. That's all I saw. Frequency Wholeness. What a beautiful name. For gratitude for frequency. That's a great name. Frequency Wholeness. You guys have some beautiful names in here. I love it over here at Rich. Was Rich's name always Resonance Rich?
No, I changed it the other day. I changed it.
What a synchronicity.
First of all, brother, I want to say that was an amazing presentation. You definitely came with some scholarship. At the beginning of the show, I told you was on the big stage, and you definitely performed, brother. You performed. So, great job, my brother. Great job.
Thank you.
You definitely gonna make me take that alpha state more serious and really tap into that frequency brainwave state. I've heard people talk about it, but hearing you break it down the way you broke it down, it was good to hear. Real good to hear.
So thank you, brother Rich. And you know what? Before I get into the questions, let me show everybody the let me screen share and just show. Oh wait, yeah, I think I can do it. I just want to show everybody the channel that I teach on, so people can know where to reach me after the show. Yeah, let me pull it up there. What a synchronicity. The brother's name, Resonance Rich. On the Resonance. Wow, I love it.
Okay. What you gonna share something on the screen?
I think it will. Okay, good. 947 people. Yeah, I'm gonna screen share and show the pod class. I'm gonna show the screen of the pod class.
All right, family, put some questions in the chat. We're gonna get to it in a second. I see yeah, that's a good question about Jose Silva. Yeah, we're gonna get to some questions in a second. Let me just let the brother share some information real quick, and then we'll get to some questions.
Okay. And also, there was a very first question asked a brother before I even started. He sent in a beautiful question. It was something about can things be taken from one dimension to the next? Okay, we'll get to that though. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. Everybody, peace and love. You are all invited to the beautiful family that we have called the House of Aten. And the House of Aten has what we had called the Tehuti pod class. Okay, I'm sharing it now, Rich. Oh, what are you doing? Not you, Rich. The snake. Is the screen sharing, Rich? I can't see it. Okay, thank you so much. I'm looking at the screen. Okay, so we have this is a beautiful family we have over here, the House of Aten. It is a very unique system that I have set up based on this ability that I have to answer questions in this fashion. All the classes are based on questions that people ask, and as you can see, The week before, I did 3 hours on the six. People saying 6-7, 6-7. I did a whole class on the origin of the 6-7, the frequency of the 6-7, factual, going back to 2700 BC, and this class was explosive. It was beautiful. This class here, can the soul be destroyed? The reincarnation tribe. The reincarnation tribe. I went over a Native American. For all those who are into Native American information, I went over a Native American tribe, the Wet'suwet'en tribe of reincarnators. And this class was a beautiful class. Can the soul be destroyed? The mind, all these titles. I know you all love these titles. I can tell by the chat. The mind, where is it located? Do we have superpowers? Kemet, interdimensional, ancestral within. The Ma'at image, origin over 500,000 years old, the Heru Falcon consciousness. We have healing that happens on the pod class, people sending questions about hyperhidrosis. I've healed that on the pod class. People sending liver failure, all type of beautiful things, fitness questions, people sending fitness questions. I have introductions where people have quadrupled their income at the pod class, received, they're now in full communication with their deceased mother. That person's in the room right now. All type of beautiful things happen. The Hancock movie, full breakdown, the first 3-hour breakdown of the Hancock movie. What are dream premonitions? What are gender roles? What is the no mother psyops? Why is there a gender role psyops? And why is there an attack to eliminate what true female and malehood is? And how they changed the term mother into alien possession. I revealed that. Kemet, Tartaria, Indus Valley, Three Atlas, the Spellbinder movie, Eyes Wide Shut, all of these beautiful things that are covered in the Tehuti pod class. The answers are anywhere from 45 minutes to 3 hours long. And every pregnant women asking questions about gestational diabetes, getting healing on that. We have all type of beautiful things. People asking about all type of healing things, and I get right to it. We focus and we give them the magic and the Hika energy and the answers, and boom, people come with testimonies, and some of those people are in the room right now. So come to the Tehuti pod class. It's every Saturday, Pacific time, at between 3 and 4 o'clock. We start. There's an intro that's about an hour, and then we go get right into it. So come to the Tehuti pod class. Everybody's invited. If you're a Muslim, Assalamu alaikum. I meet people on whatever level you are at. I judge nobody. I don't care if you're Abo. I'm not one of those guys say, "I'm you Abo, prove it, blood test." If you're Abo, we're gonna shoot bow and arrows together. If you're whatever you are, because everybody has to be somewhere on their path to get somewhere else. Yes, you have to be. Nobody here started with what they are right now. So nobody started esoteric, Abo, Kemet. Nobody was that when they were 3 years old. So it's a pathway, and I accept everybody on their pathway, and then we build, and we just keep going to the origin, going to what the ancestors say. And shout out to everybody. That's a Tehuti pod class. Peace and love to everybody in the room. There's a lot of beautiful energy here. And that's it. Rich, we can get to I think the first question was about, who asked that first question about, can something be brought from one dimension to the next? If you're here.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but go ahead, get to that, brother. That was a good one.
Okay, good. Shout out to Sazzy says, appreciate that. Being Frank. Okay, so the person that asked the question, as soon as the class, as soon as this whole thing started, they asked, oh, you're welcome, Span. Let's try to move fast. The person asked, can something be transferred from one dimension to the next? So let's say you have an experience in the what's called the spiritual realm. And I'll give everybody the real origin of these words. So the oldest word for the spiritual realm is in the realm of seeing things in the double, the realm of the pure energetic projectable double. It's called Ma'ati. Ma'ati is the oldest documented word because Ma'at means sight. So there's a first sight, there's this sight, then there's Ma'ati, which is doubled sight. And in the ancient texts, it says you go into a realm called the Usek. That's a big broad plane, a big broad field, and then you're in a realm called the double sight. And what's in the double sight? Something called the ba, which means double, and something called the ka, which is double, because your true self is produced by the ka, which is the bioenergetic template, and the bioenergetic template echoes out what's called pure energetic projectable doubles. These are all doubles because there's a world right within and beside this one that permeates and looks just like this one. So can something be brought? Can you bring something from that dimension and it be seen here in this dimension? And the answer is yes. Now that and I'm going to go ahead and show that too. I taught someone how to do that. And anybody heard of the dolmens? The dolmen, they're made out of stones. They look like houses. They're not really houses, but they're like structures that you can walk into. They're called dolmens. People go up there for spiritual experiences. If anybody heard of it, just say yes and whatnot. And so can something be, anybody heard of that? So can something be brought in from one realm to the next? So I'm going to go ahead and show that. I have a student who was a Hindu. I have Hindu students. Like I said, I don't care what you are. We all walk and we get to where we get to at the end. I have a Hindu student. His name was Krishna. Iconic. His name was Krishna. And we used to have one-on-one sessions up on the top of a building. On the top of a building where nobody could see us. And he would meet me at the bottom on the streets where I would perform magic. I perform magic for people and I change people's lives, performing magic for them, bring couples together, do all type of interesting things. And it's all about love and healing. And so he saw that and he decided to pay me for a one-on-one and bring me to the top of the building where nobody was there. And he would have lessons with me. And I would teach him how to contact the other side. And that the other side can be seen over here, just like the light in that room can be seen, even though they did the photonic tickling or the resonance frequency in Persinger in the one room, the person saw the light here. But what about others? Can others see it? So we're going to get right into that. Let me go ahead and go right to it. And I like to show the people the evidence and the proof of what it is that I teach and what it is that I get my students to do, because a lot of people, not here, but a lot of people outside of here are they're just very skeptical, and they have the right to be skeptical if you want. So what I do when I give the magic to my students, I tell them to record it. Record the magic, get a picture of it. I want people to see what's happening. So here I'm going to go ahead and show this screen here. And this is the brother Krishna. He was in Canada at the time, and he went from Canada to where the dolmens are. And he did this practice here. This is him. I'm going to go ahead and screen share, good brother Rich. So this is Krishna right here. Boom, boom. Is it going to show? Yes. So here is it there, Rich? Thank you, Rich. So here's the brother Krishna. He's in where the dolmens are. He's where the dolmens are. And so he went from Canada to the dolmens, and he's doing a practice here. It's a practice with a pendulum, the real pendulum one. There's a lot of different things out there, but the real one. So what he's doing is there's a lot of tourists. There's tourists that go here by the thousands, by the hundreds. They go to the dolmens. A lot of respect. If you go into a dolmen, they give you your respect and say, if you want to go in there alone, somebody may sit to the side, you can look in. And sometimes they give people their private space. Sometimes they look in. But there's a lot of people around. This is a very big tourist site. And so he's there with the with something he's doing with his hand and the pendulum. And as he moves the pendulum around, this starts forming. Excuse me. This starts forming. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing what witnesses are seeing, and what the camera is also picking up, and what the person who's taking the pictures and doing the recording is picking up. So what's happening is the dimension is starting to intertwine into the visual realm, where you can't make out what you're seeing yet. It looks blurry, but he's gonna keep working. He's gonna keep working. So as he keeps working on this, the things start to go from, for people to understand, let's explain it as difference between a wavelength and a particle. So wavelengths are everywhere at once, different locations. Particles are finite in one place at one time, but particles and wavelengths through the double slit experiment have been proven to be the same thing. So when the things first appear, you ever went into a dark room and you couldn't see anything, then all of a sudden your eyes adjust, and then you're, I see a little better now. When it first happens, you don't adjust to it because you're seeing it through not just your eye, but you're seeing it through your consciousness, which we showed doesn't even need the visual light spectrum. As he kept going, the cloud, what appears to be a cloud in our assumptive sight, starts to become thicker. It starts to become thicker and more dense. He still, if you notice, this is the discipline that I teach my students. This position he's in, you notice it never changes. He's not even becoming distracted, whereas the regular person would look and say, oh, look at the thing, look at the entities, look at something's coming. He is exactly how he is here, as he is here, as he is right here. He is not moving. His hand hasn't moved. His head, he is in the exact same position. He stays disciplined. This is all about focus and discipline as it's happening. Once you get excited, most of this will disappear in your sight. But he's bringing the consciousness that's on the other side that couldn't be seen, bring it to this side. Then they start to go into the form, or the what's called the dust, the gaseous, which is everywhere at all times. And now they begin to individualize. Now they're individualizing, and now the entire room clears up. Now everything is very clear. You can see people, the person's taking the camera. You can see somebody here looking in. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the hands of somebody here. And people are watching this happen. Now he starts to give a little glance and look. And as he's looking, he sees, oh, these things are starting as individualization. They're starting to individualize. They start to multiply now, individualize, and here comes someone else with another camera, recording it too, because these things can be seen. There he is with the pendulum. There he is. These were called in ancient times aku, light consciousness, starting off as what looks as a smog, and then individualization, because what you think are a bunch of multitudes of different things are in actuality one thing. We may get into that later. What you think is billions and billions of electrons is really one electron. That's another class though. But so they become individualized, or in our mind individualized. Then he leaves, and it leaves the dolmen with him. They start to follow him. So now here they are outside for everybody to see, not just the people that are inside the dolmen, but now they're outside and they're starting to follow him. How far they follow him? Here's somebody with the camera there. And they start to follow him. And how far do they follow him? He's in this other country where the dolmens are. And where are they going to follow him to? Now his sister leaves. Now this young lady leaves here. And now this one follows her. Now they're individualized following her. And she's walking away. And the other person with the camera now is recording this. Where does it forward to? Where's it? Back to Canada. Now they get on the plane and they go home, because these entities, now that they brought to this side, visualize in the physical realm. They don't need a plane. They don't need the plane to travel. So by the time they get home, now they're here at home. This is here's all of his books. Here's Krishna. See, he's a Hindu as I'm teaching him. He's not going to a Hindu guru. He's coming to the person that he saw do live magic in front of him. So he's coming to me, and this is what's manifesting, and it's following them home. They go into their bedroom. Now now they're in the closet. Now this big one here is in the closet. Here's someone else here, and this is in Canada now. The trip is over. Now they're fully seen in the physical world following them. We expand the image and we see there's something inside of it, but we can't make this out. There's something definitely inside of this ball, this orb. It's something, but it can't be made out with our eyes. We can't comprehend what it is, but whatever it is, it's limited to being inside of the orb. So now what happens is we look back at this picture here, and we said, what is this? There's something inside of here in this one, but it doesn't look like that other one. There's something in there. And when we expand the picture, when we expand the orb, what we see is this, their family faces, the faces of their family and people that look like them, which they are Indian. They're Indian, so we see the Indus Valley face, and they're looking at it. They're saying this is the faces of their family. The Indian man with the long hair. I don't know how it's showing on the screen, but it's a face with the long hair, the neck, the chin, the nose, and it's a face that matches their family face of their ancestors or whoever it may be. They haven't been able to confirm who it is, but whoever it was, whatever manifested, started all the way where the dolmens were in another country, seen by the public, followed them home, and now are seen by people in the public at home, but they were not there in the physical before he did this practice. So the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Yes, things can be brought from that realm to this realm and can be seen with the physical eye. I don't need, this is before AI. Before AI was invented. This is before, I don't need to go to Google stock photos. When I'm showing you things, I'm showing you things from, I teach my students, they manifest them. We take videos and pictures of them and we show them to the world because I connect them with what's called Hika. So there's your answer. Glad you enjoyed. Peace. Thanks to you for whoever asked that question. Thanks, Rich, for that.
Indeed, indeed. All right, let's get to the next question. We could do about 6 questions today, family. We about to hit the 2 hour mark. No, 5 more because that's one. Yeah, because I gotta go. We about to hit the 2 hour mark.
Okay.
This question is: what do you think about Jose Silva?
Jose Silva. Jose Silva. So first of all, thank you, Scotty Woods, for that question. I'm going to refrain my thoughts on that until I refresh more and do more information on Jose Silva, but I will definitely check that out. I don't want to have thoughts on something that I'm not fully factually ready to present and show on the screen. And thank you for that, Scotty Woods. And you'll notice that about myself is that I'm not allowed to do that. Like just make up something on the spot. So if somebody sends me something, let's say you send me the John of Tao, the God of John of Dios, and I can, but Jose Silva, I don't have enough on hand to present the facts. And without that, I wouldn't give my thoughts because my thoughts would have to come before the facts. But thank you for that question. Maybe the next time I come on, or come to the pod class and send that question in, and we'll do a class on Jose Silva when I have everything that I can present factually. Thank you for that, Scotty Woods.
Yeah, Jose Silva, some great stuff on meditation, mind control, self mastery, entering certain brainwave states. Real good stuff. Yeah, he's deceased now, but his stuff has been around for a long time, very long time.
Beautiful. Rest in peace to Jose Silva. The name does sound familiar. Rest in peace to him and whatever he brought to enhance people. Peace and blessings be upon Jose Silva.
Indeed. Okay, next question. How can we manage lower vibration or frequency versus higher?
Beautiful. So Miss Cherokee, thanks for the question. And I will I'm going to answer a little bit here, and I could do a full podcast answer would be a whole dedicated 1 hour to it. But one of the first things you want to do is the ability to attain it, to manage it first. So one of the things I tell people to do is give up certain things for a week straight. Try giving up social media, Facebook, a week straight. Don't go out with friends. Don't hang out. Stay away from alcohol. Stay away from all of the social things, and stay in a room and relax. Don't go on the internet to get information. Go to the library. Go to the library. You can pick up. I'll give an easy book to get, and that's one thing about me is that I have books and I have different things. But if I know that there's someone else that you can get a book easier, go pick up a book. Robert Bruce, Astrodynamics. Pick that up. It's a good, easy book to read. It's humongous, and use that as a beginner's phase. But the first thing you want to do, I tell people, if you want to get the devil off of your back, change your jacket. So strip yourself of the things that you can determine are causing the frequency that you don't want. So sit with yourself in a bedroom by yourself, dimly lit, and start immediately self-judging yourself, meaning that you say to yourself, Miss Cherokee, what is it that I'm doing that is a distraction? And take a booklet, write each one of them down on a piece of paper on the booklet, and look at them and say, this week I'm going to give up 5 of these things. Next week I'm going to give up another 4 of these things until everything is gone. Now that they're gone, your frequency will naturally get lower because you won't be stimulated by so much distraction. Before you even do any ritual, I'll give you the ritual. Come to the pod class and whatnot, our magnetic class, and I'll give you the actual step-by-step thing to do. But first, look at the foods that you're eating and say, are these foods that I'm eating coffee? Are they causing high blood pressure? Is coffee giving me energy? No, it's not. Coffee is tricking you to believe that you've actually got the energy that you don't have. Thus, it takes from parts of the brain that's not supposed to be taken from and slowly destroys you. Are my children eating candy? If I have a birthday, do I accept a birthday cake? I'm not going to eat a birthday cake this birthday. I'm not going to eat these donuts. I'm going to stay away from the pizza party. When I go watch a movie, I'm not going to eat the popcorn this time. I'm going to write a list of all the foods that I ingest that cannot be heightening my frequency, and I'm going to get them out of my cupboard tonight because they're not necessary for me to survive. They're just to fill my dopamine and trick my body, and they're killing me. Start by giving up things. That would be the first step I say to do before I give any actual practice, any ritual, any medunetter, any papyrus, any of those things like that. I first say do the basic things, which is remove yourself from the world for a bit. I had to do it for a long period of time where I removed myself from living in a city environment, and I lived in an area where I drank well water. I did not go in the city. I was surrounded by just nature and woods. I would go out with the animals. I would not be around people that are talking about anything other than the upliftment of consciousness. And that alone changed my frequency before I even did any. That was a ritual within itself. So that's what I would say. And come to the pod class, send that same question in. I'll give you a whole thorough pod class on it with different steps to take that we don't have the time for here. But start with that, the basics, I would say, before I give you anything too advanced. But that's a beautiful question. Thank you for that.
Indeed, indeed. All right, all right. Okay,
Oh,
next question is I know stillness. What you said?
sorry. And one more thing, Miss Cherokee. When you feel yourself about to get into an argument, when an argument's about to start, take your finger, put it to your mouth, and just tell the other person, shh, and just go sit down. Do that for a period of 2 weeks. Whenever you feel an argument is about to happen, just say, Miss Cherokee, shh, you're talking to yourself. They'll think you're talking to them. Shh, Miss Cherokee, and sit down and hold in your emotions and sit there. And the other person will eventually stop arguing with you. And that'll be a huge self correction that you'll find that maybe you were a start of some of these arguments when you analyze it in a dark room. Okay. Thank you, Miss Cherokee. Peace and love. All right, Rich. Thank you. Yes.
All right, next question. I know stillness is required, but how do you know when you're receiving divine downloads versus just your own monkey mind thoughts? Is it more of a feeling like a knowing?
That's a beautiful question. Who's this? Shout out to Chosen One. I like the creativity and how that was spelled. Chosen One. Shout out to Chosen One. Chosen One. Beautiful question. And I discuss this all the time. How do you know when you're receiving downloads from the ancestors or information as opposed to your own monkey thoughts? What you do is you analyze the downloads that have nothing to do with your emotion. So if you're receiving downloads and they may pertain to an emotional state or something you're going through emotionally, move that to the side. Try to see if you're receiving downloads of information that you can go back and find that it's correct. See if the downloads are factual. Say to yourself or the ancestors or wherever you feel this information is coming from, I want factual downloads because my mind can create anything. They actually have a program right now. I may get into the podcast where it makes you think that you're receiving thoughts from God. Nope, let's get that out of there. I receive downloads that give me pod class answers. So when somebody asks me a question, I do something to myself and I give you a 3-hour answer of a movie that I'd never watch. There's 6 movies that I have 3-hour answers on. I have never watched a Never-Ending Story, and I give a 2-hour explosive answer on the movie. I've never seen it. Eyes Wide Shut, all these different, no, there's a whole bunch of them. Hancock. Some of these movies I've only seen 2 minutes of and gave a 2-hour answer. When you receive a download that is truthful, you'll be able to verify it. Not verify it within your emotion, verify it research. And do this to anyone else that's telling you they're getting a download. Do this to the Obatala. Do this to the voodoo man that walks up to. Do it to this tarot card reader. Do this to the celestial Cess, celestial Sistren, celestial Chris, whoever it may be. Say, I only want to receive that which I can go and research to see if it was true. Because my ancestors and the downloads have so much factual things that existed on this planet to tell me that I've never seen before, that would be the easiest thing for them to give me first so I can verify that this is a true download. The things that are coming from your mind are usually personal things that make you feel better. They're feel-good downloads. I got a download and it's feel-good things. Test them to the facts. Once you start getting factual downloads, then you open yourself up more to the rest. Ignore all the downloads until they're verified, because the mind will play tricks on you and make you think that you're getting something to make you feel very good and feel very spiritual and special. And it was your own mind coping with something that is completely unverified. Don't let a tarot card reader ask you nothing. Don't ask me nothing, psychic tarot card lady. Ask me nothing. Look at me and tell me what my mother gave me when I was 11. There's a download, because that's out there in the Akasha. That's out there in the realm of Ku. The information is out there. So you should be able to easily grab that, because it's something you don't have to search for. It happened. So it's stuck in the mental realm. Go and grab for me that and see if it's true. There's a practice that you can do that I will give you at the pod class, and it has to do with a deck of playing cards that you set up somewhere in your house, and you can do a test to see if you're downloading, and it could be any kind of cards. It could be Uno cards, anything where there's a variety of them, and you can actually see if you can download what the face of the card looks like. I'll give you the practice if you come to the class, but that's how you analyze to see if the factual things that you can research, the download that helps somebody, that's actually a factual thing, and take it from there. That's a beautiful question, though. Thank you so much for that question. Thank you, Chosen One.
All right. Next question is, how can you tell the difference between an astral projector versus a spirit?
Oh, oh man, these are great questions. So I'm first of all, shout out to Hiking with Babe. Shout out to you and the babe that you're hiking with. Shout out to you and peace and love to you and that family or whoever you're hiking with. This is a beautiful question. So I'm going to assume that the person is talking about you're having an out of body and you see somebody or you see something, an entity, and you try to discern whether it's an astral projector or a spirit consciousness that actually dwells in that realm. It's one of the easiest ways to do it is this the communication with the thing, unless the thing is openly trying to trick you. So first off, an astral projector and the spirit are both spirits. They're both one is a pure energetic projectable double, which is a spirit, a ba, coming from here, and one may be an ancestor that died hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, and he's just been there for eons. One may be an entity that's from that dimension, and the best thing to do is have a conversation. Do not fear that any of these things can hurt you. That's step one. Do not fear of that, because I can teach you first of all, the entities over there, most of them hurt you based on what you acknowledge to be true. They work on your own fear factor, of which they can see by just looking at you. The questions that you have, the conversation. So an astral projector is someone who is just visiting from Earth, usually. Usually it's a being from Earth. It could be your cat, but you can't communicate. Being that's visiting from Earth will have conversations with you based on their experience from Earth, and you should be able to relate to them. So if you meet something and you are able to get through the energetic conflict, which is the that's helicopter sound and that sound when you're having a sleep paralysis, and you break through there and you see something, you start talking to it. See if you can have a conversation with something that you can relate to. A spirit that's been there for a while, that's from there, will not talk to you about things that's relatable to you because it's never experienced them. It doesn't know what drinking 7-Up is. It doesn't know what driving a car down the street is. It doesn't know. It's a complete foreign world to it, unless it's a spirit that was disembodied sometime before you got there. Its conversation will be more of something from a different time period. All of them are spirits, but the ones that are having an out of body with you, you'll be able to talk to about earthly things that it can relate to. The one that's more of a spirit from there will be talking about something you can relate to as a guidance more than as an experience. It will want to educate you or tell you something that you can do when you get back, or something about that realm that you don't know. It won't be talking to you about enjoying the Avengers and talking about those, unless it's a recent spirit. So question it and ask it questions by the conversation. You'll be able to almost immediately know if it's talking to you from a body that's having an experience with you. Its conversations will be earthly, as opposed to an entity that is not being on earth. It will want to take you somewhere. It will want to educate you. It will want to guide you, but it will be completely unrelating to your emotion on what's on earth. Pick a topic that's familiar to almost everybody, like going to the movies. So see it and walk up to the entity and say, man, what movie do you like? What's your favorite? I like the Avengers. What do you think of Thanos? I like 007. It will not answer to you an answer that has anything to do with what happened on Earth. Only if it's an out of body, it'll be able to relate to who even 007 emotionally was, or what KRS One song, or who Hulk Hogan was in a nostalgic state. So question it. That's what you can do, and also get a good look at it and see what it looks like. If you look at it closely, and see if you can change its shape. Look at it and see if you can use your mind to change its shape. Let me give you this last tip. If you're out there and you're out in that realm and you see an out-of-body entity, and it's a person that was here, it's echoing from its echoing its pure energetic projectable double from its biological template, echoing a consciousness of what it looks like based on what it remembers here and based on what it wants to look like. So it will make itself younger. If it's a 50-year-old man, it may look like a 28-year-old man with a six-pack. If it's an overweight woman, she may look a little slimmer. The mind's consciousness is creating that. The entity that you see over there that looks like a person, that's not really a person or not really an out of body. It's not even of this realm. It's echoing what's reflecting. It's real projection. You know, I say stop projecting. It's real projection. It's projecting what you want to see, what you're familiar with, and it's echoing that to be familiar to you. This could happen when you're having an attack from a succubus, or there's a beautiful woman on top of you, and you say, I want you to look like what you really look like. I'm not distracted by those beautiful breasts. And sometimes those succubus will turn and look like caterpillars. They look like grubs. They look like parasite type creatures on that other side. So try to change your mind state of what you want the thing to look like. And if you see it altering in any fashion, it's from there. If you change your mind state to something else, of something you really, really like and want to see, and you see some type of shift happening, it's you doing that, and that means that it's projecting what it wants you to see, whereas an out-of-body person isn't projecting what you want to see, it's projecting what it wants to be. So it'll always look like the person, no matter what you think of, the other thing will start to change and morph because it really looks like those circular balls that I showed you in that realm. It doesn't have this kind of body, but it can project it based on who it's talking to. I'm going to stop right there. Rest in the pod class. Thank you. I'm hiking with Babe. Keep hiking with the Babe.
All right. And last question for the night. How do you personally distinguish between imagination? Wait, let me put it. How do you personally distinguish between imagination, intuition, and what we consider seeing another dimension?
Oh my goodness. So first, oh my God.
Shout out to Dave.
Shout out to D Heck. Oh, first I'm gonna let me so before I give you any kind of answer on that, I'm gonna say go to the Tehuti Pod Class channel. Come to the pod class this week, and I'm going to direct you to a 3-hour class on this. That's a beautiful thing, and it's very similar to the other question the person asked. So imagination, first we're going to take imagination. It's going to be very similar to the first answer that I gave. Imagination is more based on images of what you either want to see or things that were in your subconscious. So your imagination, most people can't imagine anything on the 11th dimension. Your imagination usually takes place on things that take place within 3 dimensions and sometimes fourth. Sometimes fourth gets in there, but 3 dimensions. So when you're imagining something, if I say close your eyes and imagine something, even if you try to imagine the most ridiculous looking creature, it's composed of body parts of things that are coming from real things. You can't imagine on the other dimension. So imagination is totally different from seeing into another dimension because your imagination will change based on what you want to happen. It's very similar to the first question. When you're in another dimension, the thing that you can change, which is different from a dream. In the dream, you're still in this dimension. When you're in the parallel, the first level of the astral plane, the first level of the Ma'ati in the double realm, the thing that you can change is your structure. You can use your imagination to look at your hands, and if you look at your hands directly, They may turn into into icicle type looking things. You can change your hand to look like whatever you want. I teach people how to make swords and knives and weapons over there to fight beings if they choose. You're creating the reality because what transferred over there was your thought consciousness. That's your imagination changing. Um, that's what you can control with your imagination. And if you're in a realm of just your imagination, you can change everything. So this is a lucid dream. A lucid dream is heavily controlled by your imagination, and you can control anything of what you want it to look like in this lucid dream. You can make a cat, a dog. You can make a door appear. You can change heights. That's your imagination. That's on the first stage of awakening, the lucidity of dreams. When you cross past the lucidity stage and you now enter into you pass the barrier of energetic conflict, and now you go into your first dimension, you cannot change the things that are over there. This is how you know a major difference. You'll be able to look at your hand and make it a sword. You'll be able to make yourself taller, shorter. But when you're looking at things in the other dimension, they existed before you got there. You will not be able to change the things in that dimension unless you're in a world that you created, which is your imagination. This is one of the big differences from that. Intuition is a little bit deeper than that. It's kind of far from both of these worlds. That can be covered in the pod class. Intuition is something that can be tested. Your secondary brain exists in your intestines, and you have over 40,000 neurological availabilities working inside of what's called the smaller brain inside your intestines. So your intestines are directly in tune with your surroundings of survival. And there's a part of your brain that connects to the intestines. And so you were able to pick up they call it a gut feeling. Ooh, I have this gut feeling that said they don't call it a brain feeling, they call it a gut feeling. And it's taking place in your intestines. I did a whole pod class. You can type in Tehuti intestines or in Tehuti apep. And I think I did a whole pod class on that. You want to always test your gut feelings, which is your intuition, by removing all of your personal feelings from it. So if you have an intuition that somebody's a bad person, remove yourself completely from the situation and analyze if that person is actually doing bad without you being involved. And then that intuition is correct. But it doesn't mean you should go by it again. It means you should keep testing it consistently over and over and over again. When you get about 7 to 15 or so of them right, now you can say, I can trust my intuition. But you still have to test it because your mind can create what you think is an intuition. I get a bad feeling about this guy. I feel like he wants to kill somebody. And you could be absolutely right. You're saying, I got a gut feeling he's evil. He wants to beat up somebody. He's thinking these thoughts and he's not good for me or my children. You take you and your children out of the situation and you say, oh, I did some research on that guy. Oh, somebody kidnapped his 4-year-old daughter and sent back pictures of threatening to SA and molest her. And his mind is seeking out every day how to find his daughter and eliminate this person from the planet. You picked up that intuition, and it had nothing to do with you. It had to do with a thought that it was separate from you. It was a thought of somebody doing harm to somebody. It was a thought of violence, but it wasn't. You had intuition for something that had nothing to do with you. So come to the pod class. We'll get more in depth in that. And if we do come to the Magnetic class, and I'll actually give you the step-by-step what to do when you get to that realm to test these things. I give you step-by-steps. But thank you for that, Dave. I appreciate that. And peace and love to you. That's the answer I can give for right here. Peace and love to you. Thank you. Yes, and that's why they're weaponizing food.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, Tehuti, man, listen, once again, I want to thank you for another great show. You and what's the name of your snake again? And meow what?
Meow, the lion head. Meow, 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 coo.
Yeah, cool. Yes, indeed. Listen, man, great show. Tell the people once again, give them your contact information before we get out of here, my brother.
Thank you. Tehuti Brown on Facebook. If my people in the room, they can put the link in. Tehuti Podcast. There's a brother I'm familiar with, me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I, we're gonna have a talk one day, and then you're gonna be me, myself, and my aunt. So, but come to the Tehuti Pod class. Type in Tehuti Pod class every Saturday. I show the screen share of it every Saturday between we'll say 3 o'clock. I'm trying to get it to 3 o'clock, and it goes for hours. Questions are sent in. They're sent in with reciprocity. If you all want to support me today, if I'm allowed to, if they can put my cash up in there, if you all want to support, say thank you for the class. I appreciate that. Come to the 2T Pod class. Come to Facebook. You can friend request me. Like a couple of my videos before your friend requests me, so I can see that you're actually interested in the knowledge. I have a lot of trolls and different bots and people. But the 2T Pod class, House of Aten on social medias of Instagram. Nukpu can put in the room, or Amunet or Nana. House of Aten on Instagram. It's House of Aten, which is ATTON. House of Aten, ATTON on Instagram, Spotify. It even says Patreon. I didn't even know we had a Patreon. Patreon, House of Aten on Instagram, House of ATTON. I'll put it in the somebody type it in. One of my students type it into the room. House of Aten on Instagram and TikTok. And please support. Say thank you. Appreciate. I want you to support any channel that you go on that has quality. If Brother Rich has something to support, I think he has cigars. I saw on a commercial or something, he has cigars. Whatever channel you're on, if you feel that people are bringing something of high quality, support them. You know why? Because Epstein, the disgusting, was supported. Ronald McDonald's is supported. Cigarettes will never go anywhere. Neither will Hennessy. Neither will all the evil things that are killing us. Heinz ketchup. All of it is supported by us. And that's why they're billionaires. So we support evil. Let's support the brothers and sisters that are doing good and spending their time. So if you want to support me, it's Cash App TT Moon, a Cash App, or PayPal at Rocky SV. And somebody can put that in the chat and support. Thank you, everybody. This has been wonderful. My name is Tehuti. I'm in Hotep Ra. This is Meow Ku. Contact me, and let's keep enhancing and lowering our frequencies.
Yeah, Tahuti. Since it's the very end of the show, text me all your information, Patreon or your Cash App and everything, and I'll put it in the comment section. So when people watch the video, they can see it. It'll be pinned at the top. So just send me all your information, and I'll put it up there.
Nice idea. Thank you, Rich.
No, indeed, brother, indeed. Listen, once again, thank you, my brother. I appreciate it, and definitely going to get you on here again soon, my brother.
You're welcome, Niniuk. Ankia Ma'at un NS. I live from Ma'at. I exist within her.
Yo, you know how to you know how to decipher the hieroglyphics?
Yes, I decipher that which I teach on. So okay. I read a lot of it, and I read the things that I teach on. And I think a couple of weeks ago they threw some hieroglyphics on the screen, and I was randomly reading it. It all depends. I don't claim to be a master of different things I haven't seen before, but yes, yes, I enjoy reading that which I can read to teach the classes.
Indeed. All right. Well, yeah, send me that info, brother, and I'm gonna talk to you soon, my brother.
Peace to everybody. Slim, Cherokee, King, Bean, Frank, Divine, everybody. Balance, peace and love. Hotep.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
All right, family. I will see y'all. I'll probably go live real quick tomorrow. I'm gonna be in New York tomorrow, so I probably might go live on the streets in Harlem or something like that. Let y'all see New York. Walk around New York for a little while, talking to people. But yeah, besides that, I'll share the brother's info in the comment section. King Simon is also sharing some of his information in the chat. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. A great presentation, very educational night. Definitely a show that you watch again and take notes to. All right, family. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night, family.